Okay, last month we worked a lot on understanding the metaphysics of the Ten Commandments and of building our world based on love versus laws. And I know that it went deep into each one of us. And so this month we're going to be looking at the ideas of what Jesus called the universal church. So let me bring you up to speed. Before Jesus began his ministry, there was a gathering of all the sages of the land. And the sages said, we need a church that everyone can buy into all the different faiths so that we can guide the people into understanding God in perfect ways, in a way that will be useful to everyone. And so they created postulates, and postulates are simply principles that could be woven into the faith that they had that would lead everybody into unity. And then they asked Jesus to do this. They said to him, would you please take this into the world and be the founder of this new faith? I wanted to share with you what Jesus said. He meditated on it. He was very honored because these were the sages of the world. He said, the history of life is well condensed in these immortal postulates. They are the 7 hills on which the holy city shall be built. These are the 7 sure foundation stones on which the universal church shall stand. Man is not far enough advanced in sacred thought to comprehend this universal church. And so the work that God has given me to do is not the building of this church. I am a model maker sent to make a pattern for the church that will be, a pattern that this age can comprehend. My task as a model builder lies within my native land, and there, upon the postulate, the principle, that love is Son of God, that I am come to manifest that love, the model church will stand. The model church that Jesus built based on the one idea that love is Son of God. Okay, and we know we've come through that church, have we not? We've come through that church. And he says, and then the better age will come, and the universal church will stand on the 7 postulates and will be built according to the pattern given. So, once mankind has learned love, he is now far enough advanced to understand the principles that would unite us all in a universal understanding. Everybody breathe. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to look at these postulates, and I want to start with the first 3, which I'm condensing into one. So if you ever look in your aquarium when I'm speaking, or when you go home, it's chapter 58. And I just wanted to read one verse which encapsulates almost all of it. All things are thought. All life is thought activity. The multitude of beings are but phases of the one great thought made manifest. God is thought, and thought is God, and man is thought of God. So breathe that in for just a second. Now, if you don't understand love, how can you even embody that God is thought? This is a very expanding consciousness. God is thought, and man is thought of God. God created us with thought, therefore we too create with thought. Right? This is not new, any metaphysician. This is basic metaphysics 101. But I'm hoping to create a space where we can see it more clearly. Okay. How many times have any of you changed your life by changing a thought? Hands in the air. All right. That's almost everybody. I should have said how many of you instead of how many times. How many of you have changed? Virtually everybody. When we decide something's not working for us and we decide we need to do something differently, we actually can shift our perception about what our potential is, and we can start affirming, manifesting, we can start moving toward what we want instead of what we don't want. And we have all also been caught in what we do not want. We've all also had the experience of living in a world where our thoughts are continually hitting what we do not want. I'm not happy, I don't like this. I'm not happy, I don't like this. Dot, dot, dot. Got it? Been there? You don't get out of that, do you? How do you get out of that? By throwing rocks at what you don't like? there's only one way to get out of that. Change your thoughts. You change your thoughts and you look for things that you are happy about. You don't even have to deal with what you're unhappy about. You have to focus your mind on what you are happy about. We all know this. But I wanted to give us just some basic new foundational energy. We've all done this. All right. Persistence, it takes persistence, it takes focus, it takes affirmations. Affirmations, statements of truth that you don't yet believe. Statements of truth you don't yet believe. That's an affirmation. Once you believe it, you say it till you believe it. Once you believe it, it's a statement. It's not an affirmation anymore. It's a reality for you. You become the reality of your affirmations. Right? All right. That's taking our energy and focusing it. We know the Bible says, renew your world by renewing your mind, renewing your thoughts. Our world was created by our thoughts, and it is currently being sustained by our thoughts. So everything in your world today that you are experiencing is being sustained by the thoughts that you hold. Yes, it's true. So I wanted to share something with you. This is not new. Yet again, this is not new. In the discussion class at 9:30, they're going over this book by Deepak Chopra called Creating Affluence. And as I was discussing the service with Patrick, he said, oh, this is going to be interesting for you. Again, not new, but how he presented it was really cool. So, in the book, it talks about the subatomic energies and particles. And we all have heard this, how the subatomic energy flows in waves, right? Everybody understands waves of energy. Yet, if you seek to observe it, it becomes a particle. And then when you stop observing it, it becomes a wave. If you observe it, again, it becomes a particle. This is scientific evidence of the infinite sea of potential that we live in, where we live in potential wave energy, and it forms by our observation. It forms by our focus. You got it? Okay. We live in unformed realities. If we look into the infinite potential, it is a wave. Number one. That's number one. Number two, when you look at it, it becomes a particle. When you place a thought into that particle, it is now attached to your consciousness, and you have defined that particle. If you put a thought into the particle, it becomes creative. You define it. Then it begins to vibrate at that frequency, and it becomes a magnet for more energy to become particles to join it. It becomes a magnet for more energy to become particles to join it. Then it manifests in matter. So I want you to think this. I want you to think wave, particle, magnet, matter. Wave, particle, magnet, matter. You're in an infinite sea of potential. Waves all around. I'm going to focus. I'm going to imagine a particle freezing. I'm going to put my energy into that particle, and I'm going to call for something. A lot of you want prosperity. A lot of you are still seeking creature comforts, or keeping the wolves at bay from the door. Something very material. So your particle can be that very material idea. I'm in an infinite sea of universal substance. I'm going to focus, and I'm going to call forth a particle. It's going to become a particle, and I'm going to put into it what I want, prosperity. And the minute it is mine, and this is my particle, my prosperity, it begins to vibrate. And the more I focus on it, the more it draws to it. And the more I thinking about it, the more it becomes. And then it will automatically drop into my world. This is automatic energy. All right. And what is the greatest magnet? Greatest power in the universe? Love. If you have the idea of love in your particle that you're charging, it becomes stronger. And then as it manifests into a state of love. So let us say that you want prosperity, but you don't just want ching, ching, ching coins. I would love to feel prosperity that makes me feel I'm God's prosperous child. I'm flowing in the universal good. You know, all of these love-based thoughts. Pick whatever one works for you. And you charge the particle with a thought that has the love vibration in it. But it is the prosperity you're seeking, is it not? Then it becomes stronger and stronger. Magnet to matter. Wave, particle, magnet to matter. All right. You know you can have anything you want. That's what we're taught. You can absolutely have anything you want. This is how you have it. But the other thing that Spirit was telling me is we don't and we cannot have anything we cannot see in our mind's eye. I can't see it. How often have we tried to explain somebody our point of view? And they're like, I can't see it. I mean, I do this with Patrick all the time. I can't see it, dude. You go ahead on, do what you need to do. I'm not with you. I can't see it. But if I wanted to manifest what he's manifesting, I need to figure out what he's doing. Until we see it in our mind, we cannot particle it, we cannot magnet it, and we cannot manifest it. We have to be able to see it. So we have to be able to see ourselves as success. We have to be able to see ourselves as happy, prosperous. We have to have the vision that it is possible. I could feel and do these things. It's possible. Again, when you're caught in the scenario that I mentioned earlier, where you're in a world of things you do not like. I don't like, I don't like, I don't like, I don't like. How can you see greater potential? Hard to see it, isn't it? So being able to see it is the way you charge the particle. It's not a hit and hope thing. You know? Cindy, would you see prosperity for me? Sure. But it's probably going to come some crazy way to you because it's got to come through my consciousness. You have to see it and bring it through. All right. So I can have success. I can have financial support. I can have my dreams come true. I can have. Right now, if I showed you a picture of an apple and I said, look, we're going to go shut our eyes and we're going to feel the beautiful energy of the wave consciousness, and we're going to just focus on the vision of an apple. Look at my picture, focus on the apple. We're going to hold that focus for just a second. I guarantee you within 24 hours an apple will fall into your hands. You will eat one, someone will give you an apple pie, you'll have one roll off the grocer's shelf and hit you on the toe. Because you have just charged the infinite potential with apple. You guys with me? All right. Let's do something. So I want you to shut your eyes, and I want you to breathe, and I want you to get into the infinite potential. Just get into it. Imagine there are waves of light all around you. And imagine that you're ready to focus on something. And if you do not trust me, do not open your eyes. And if you are ready, I'm going to call forth a particle. Open your eyes. Of God love. God love. See the heart? God love. See the words. Now shut your eyes and call forth the particle of God love. I charge this particle of God love to be a part of my world. I attach to this particle of God love. And I ask that it begin to magnetize. Feel it growing? This is mine. Say, this is mine.
This is mine.
And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Why is there a drawing? Because sometimes words do not get to your brain. But we have left brain and right brain. We have words and drawing. If you took this in and charged your particle, it is now functioning for you. Could you all feel it?
Yes.
Thank you, Reba. All right. So, you got it? Wave, particle, magnet, matter. Everybody together. Wave, particle, magnet, matter. Oh. It's simple, isn't it? What if you did that every day? Watch out. Right. Okay, the next thing about thought, this is phase 2. She's memorizing it. Okay. If thought is creating a particle, and thought creates particles, thought creates the particles. If thought is creating a particle, it is drawing energy and it is also relaying information. So now we're not talking about creation. I'm going to talk about who you are today. Thought is a language. We speak it all the time. We come to somebody, you can stand next to someone, you hear their language. You hear what's going on in them, whether you hear the literal words or not. You hear the vibration of it. You feel it. And you kind of know whether there's resonance or not just by standing by them. You can know if they're upset, if they're happy. It is a language that we talk constantly. Thought is a language. Are you worried now about what you think about? Science tells us, I don't know if science is right or not, I don't know how they determine this, but science tells us that of the millions of thoughts we think every day, 99% of them are the same that we thought yesterday. So we have this little thought song going on in us, you know, and that's what we're communicating to the world. So I wanted to share something so you could hear it clearly. I talk with people let me say this first. And this is from many, many people. It's not just one person. So if you've said it to me, it's not you. People will say to me, I think metaphysical people say I love you too much. I think they say I love you too much and they don't really mean it. And so I sat with that for a minute. And Spirit brought it back to me for the service. And they reminded me of this. I'll be on a phone call with someone. And people call me all the time, as you all know, for challenges. So I'll be on the phone with someone, and I'll chat with them, chitty chat, doing the best I can to counsel on the spur of the moment. And I'm talking to them, and I'll say, hey, man, you're good. I love you. And they go, okay, goodbye. Click. And most of the time I say, yeah, I know you love me. You're being a brat because you just want to stay mad. Then I'll be talking to people, and I'll say, hey, man, I love you. And they say, I love you too. I'm trying to love you. I don't. But, you know, I'm doing the best I can, and I wish I did. And you hear all of that. You hear all of that. But when I say, I love you, I'm saying, I feel your heart. I feel your soul. I'm feeling you. And I feel the connection. And how else are we going to connect except love? So I love you. I'm feeling that. But I hear everything. Because you can't hide. That language is going to come through no matter what words you say. And remember, Jesus, he knew the thoughts of the people before they would even ask a question. He'd go, yeah, you got this question, you got that question. Okay, people. And he would answer them. He knew. He could feel. If you really took a look at a gathering, and you took a look at the language that was being spoken by a group of people just sitting silently, you would be shocked, number one, that you didn't recognize it before as you're sitting there. And then you would be shocked, number two, that you understood everything that was going on. Subconsciously, you picked it up instantly. But you didn't acknowledge it consciously. Now, what if you do find yourself in a situation where the language of the thoughts is a little bit kilter, a little bit off kilter from where you are? What might you do, O powerful being of light?
Shield yourself.
Well.
And then bring love.
Okay, love is the greatest way to shield oneself. When you're in a situation and the language, the energetic thought language is not complementary, you have a language to share. You can put your love and acknowledgement. I acknowledge all that's going on here, and I'm just going to say my thoughts are still going to be vibrating love because I don't want to get involved with your problems. I don't want to be there. I want to be here. And we can send that beautiful love out, not to change them, but to create a space for us, especially if you can't exit. It just creates a space for you. They won't sit with you. They'll sit elsewhere. But you can speak your language no matter where you are. You guys getting it? Mm-hmm. All right. And if you're like me, you can be so high. Spirit was talking to me. I love it when Spirit talks, don't you? It's like you're just elevated, you're vibrating, you feel the love of God just guiding and teaching and showing. And I feel so fabulous, like I could really walk on water and life is good and nothing is wrong. And then I can hit something that puts me in my emotional body, which we're going to talk a lot about next week. And then all of a sudden my thoughts are like, why did you do that? You still don't know why you did that. You still need to get upset about that. It's like, and then I find myself going into that space, just like I described earlier, where I'm stuck in a swirl of I don't like. I don't like that I did that. I'm sorry I did that. I'm trying to forgive myself for doing that. How did I get here? You see? The swirl of the lower beliefs of self, the swirl of the higher beliefs of self. Which one's more creative? Both of them are, actually. The higher has the more positive. The higher has the more positive light vibration, but they're both very creative. I think Spirit wanted us to become aware. We use our thoughts to create. If we can consciously use our thoughts to create, the solutions, the resolutions, the harmonies that we're seeking can easily be accomplished. If we watch our language, then we won't deter it. We won't set up blocks to it. We won't have lower thoughts that now put a wall up to our receiving. Because the minute you feel bad about yourself, are you ready to receive? No, you're ready to cave. You want to cave in and isolate and feel bad. So you can't receive what you're trying to manifest. So we can manifest, and if we understand our thoughts are a language, we can actually begin to talk a new spirit. Do you understand this very basic principle, Metaphysics 101, how it would not have been received easily unless you had an open heart? Because it would come to you as laws. It would come to you as rules. It wouldn't come to you as creating from your heart. It wouldn't come to you as using love for the greatest power. And so the time for its true realization and embodiment could not happen until the better age had arrived. And despite what it looks like in the world today, this is the better age. This is the age where every single human being has a potential for individual realization of self. That's the greatest gift we can ever have, is individual realization of self. Everybody has this today in our consciousness. And those of us that are walking the spiritual path, we want to know the true eternal self, the divine I am within us. This is what we are seeking to learn, to realize. Yes? Yes. And when we realize and touch it and feel it in those beautiful sacred moments when we feel one with God, why wouldn't matter now serve me? I serve God, matter serves me. Matter serves to keep me prosperous and keep me in the flow of universal light, to keep me joyful and happy. Why wouldn't every single thing that I'm experiencing, whether it's comfortable or not, somehow work for good? Why wouldn't this most unpleasant thing that I've done, this most unpleasant whatever situation I'm feeling, why wouldn't that be awesome for me? Why won't that work for good? And the minute you take that belief on it, what just shifted? I'm working and living and breathing in God good. The particle I'm charging is drawing. I'm receptive here on the earth plane because my thoughts are seeing. I am totally committed to God good in everything I'm doing. Now we have Spirit manifest within me. So simple, isn't it? That is the first postulate. That's the first premise. Thought, how to create, how to become, how to keep your language clear so the manifests are one with you. That's the first three postulates, actually, but it's the first wisdom that we need to go forward. Are we ready to take that responsibility? Yes. All right, let's take and anchor it in. And I would invite each of you just to feel your body, feel your heart, feel your presence. Father, Mother God, we ask that a calm of light come over everyone. And I want you just to let your thoughts go to your heart and feel God's love in you. You are never separate from God. You are always one with God. I let my thought go to my heart, and I feel God. And just begin to feel that you are a thought of God. I am always in God. I am God's thought, God's child. God is always in me. And feel this beautiful connection, just relaxing into a connection with God. And one more time, I want you to imagine that you can see the waves of infinity around you. Just energy moving. It may be right outside your energy field. Just imagine the sea of movement. And look for the thought particle you charged a moment ago with God love. See if you can see it. See how it's beginning to vibrate, growing stronger. And let your love move to that particle. And now, as the sea moves, of infinite potential, whatever you would like, just one thing. Focus now and create another particle. See a wave begin to solidify in front of you, and put the energy into that particle that you would like to draw into your world. As you focus on it, feel your connection to it. Send your love to it. Feel it. Let your eye turn back to the particle of God love. Still there, still growing. Now turn back to the particle you just created. It did not become a wave, did it? It is still holding the energy that you set into it. Let your focus now come back to your heart and just feel God with you again. God, I thank you for the wonderful abilities to receive the vast goodness of the universe. From the little, tiny details of my life to the grand. I stand in your flow, and I am grateful. Take a breath. Feel your energy field expanded. Feel your gratitude. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Now, I know I made you work hard today.
We love this stuff.
Thank you.
Think hard.
I love this stuff too. So, focus on your particles if you will. But even greater, focus on your language. The thought language you're carrying into the world. Shift it in a moment by making it light. Shift it by making it bright. Shift it by making it love. This will pass. I am eternal. I'm light. Love is eternal. This will pass. I am eternal. Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay. Step 1 in the universal church. Yay, God.